Good evening, everyone. I'm calling the meeting to order at 5:31 p.m. Item 1.02, roll call. Can our recording secretary please call roll?
Lisa Loader,
Here.
Colleen Cook,
Here.
Bonnie Gaskin, Jeremy Ivy,
Here.
Edwin Lingar,
Here.
Scott Benton, Christiana Frank, Frank Perez, Frank Perez, Ashley Van Brocklin,
Here.
Victor Sherbonde, Frank, are you on mute?
We can't hear you, Frank, but we need you to stay here so we can have a quorum. So I don't know if there's something going on with your sound. I don't know. Something is going on.
This is Frank, present. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you, Frank.
We have a quorum.
Okay, moving on to item 2.2, discussion and possible action on semifinalist name submissions for the new elementary school in the southeast Reno area. 2.01? Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, my mistake. Item 2.01, action to approve the minutes. Do we have any public comment to approve the minutes from our last meeting?
No, we don't.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
And any discussion on the item? No. So all those in favor, say aye.
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 And any that oppose, say nay. Okay, motion passes. And now we're on to 2.02, to discuss and possible action on the semifinalist name submissions for the new school, the elementary school in Southeast Reno.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so I'm going to go through our survey. So we had the survey open for folks to vote on the semifinalist names from February 3rd to February 17th. We did outreach, targeted outreach to the neighborhood, Southeast Reno. We sent messages to the students in that area. We sent out a media advisory. We put it on social media. We put it on the website. So did what we could to try to get reach to folks. And in total, 3,766 people responded. Just show you the breakdown of who responded to the survey, just so you can see, just really information. But you'll see that student family members was the highest group with 1,426 people. We had 1,231 community members, 767 staff, and 221 students. And the moment you've all been waiting for, the results. I apologize, these are not in numerical order, they're in alphabetical order, as they were in the survey. So as you can see, the votes, this is how the votes came in. I do want to say that the survey was a Microsoft form that was sent out, so it was not necessarily, like an encrypted voting machine, right? So people may have voted more than once, we don't know. So take that with a grain of salt. And use these numbers as part of your guidance, as well as the emails, the public comments, your own research. This is just a part of what you can consider. So the top name that we see is Michael Lansbury with 709 votes. Number 2 was Rio Wrangler Elementary School, 586. Damani Ranch Elementary School came in at 430. And I do want to also mention that we do have a Damani Ranch High School already in existence just down the street. Jaywood Raw Elementary School came in at 425. A. Lionel Cunningham at 320, followed by Steamboat Elementary at 268. And then Dolores Feenstra Elementary School received 252 votes. And I did want to mention that 2 votes came in after via email about 5 minutes after the survey closed. There was a little confusion as to when the survey was closing, so I told them I would add those two additional in, so you can count that as 254. And then I'll just read the other top 2. Desert Diamond came in at 218, and I also want to mention that we do have a Double Diamond Elementary School, just so you have that in your head. And then South Meadows Elementary came in at 216, and all the other ones came in underneath 200. So I'm not going to read all the numbers, you can see them, but these are the results. So you should, in your packet that I emailed to you, you have all 257 pages of the complete survey results, including comments that people made. I did not print that out for you today, but hopefully you had a chance to look at that. And turn it back over to the chair to lead a discussion, and then after you all talk about it, you can bring it back to me, and I'll explain how we've kind of done it in the past in terms of how you all rank them. It's very similar to how we did the semifinalists with a scoring system, and I'll pull up the Excel sheet. But ultimately, you'll kind of start thinking about who your top 3 should be. The agenda item is to forward no more than 3 names to the Board of Trustees. So.
Any discussion or comments from the committee?
I read the Excel spreadsheet, and I noticed several of the comments on there I think are germane now, and I don't know, because we'll have to hear from Sam how the process is done. I haven't been here for the process before. I would say there's a few that we could eliminate right now from consideration, or very soon from consideration, if you all agree, which there are some on the bottom. We see them right there on the bar chart, bouncing along the bottom. particularly when looking for community consensus, which is, I believe, what the purpose is. Is that right? Community consensus. I would say that there were several comments on some of these other ones that are along the bottom that don't have a lot of votes where people were particularly objective. You know, they didn't objected to it, and they didn't get a lot of votes anyway. So I think we can remove some of these and then just start considering the more. So that's step one, and I see many there that would be very easy to get rid of. And I wanted to add again, if I may, and I don't want to monopolize it, but I also noticed, and I want us to consider when people considered place names, some of the place names were spread out, but, I think maybe we could eliminate some of the less popular place names and think about those as well, because we have different categories of things. So I think we should consider those. But I do think we should eliminate the less popular ones so we can focus in on our task.
I agree with that comment. And so maybe looking at the chart, the bar graph, I noticed that there was 4 that reached above 400 votes. And if we're sending 3 through, that maybe that's where we should start. Is that too aggressive?
You want me to explain how you guys have done it in the past, because I know most of you are new. So how we've done the voting in the past is after discussion and after public comment, of course, we will, if each of you pick your top 3, and then I have this Excel document created, so it'll be very similar. So you'll pick A, B, and C school names, right? And then you'll tell me for your first choice, a little backwards, because for your first choice, you're going to give it 3 points. Your second choice, you're going to give it 2 points. Your third choice, you're going to give it 1 point, right? So you pick school A, school B, school C, and you'll tell me, okay, school A gets 3 points, school B gets 2 points, school C gets 1 point. I'll calculate everything in here, and then you all will see the total, and it should kind of naturally give you that a score ranking of who the top 3, who has the most votes. But of course, we'll do that after any discussion you all want to have, and then the public comment. If that makes sense.
Any further discussion from the committee or comments?
I like the way that is done, and that makes a lot of sense to me. I still think it would be okay to maybe drop off the bottom 5 or something so we can have fewer to consider. Does anybody object to that? Because I think there's some we're not going to consider. And Sam, is it trouble to put up so let's look, we see the orange one, Buck Wheeler element does not look like it has a lot of support, nor does the pink one, Jim, nor does the blue one, light blue, Perry, nor does the orange one. Oh, wait. There's 2 orange. And Carlson Elementary also is an orange, and it does not. Can we make a motion to eliminate the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, and what is the red one? Desert Diamond.
I wouldn't make a motion until you take public comment.
Oh, okay. We can't do that. All right. Thank you. I need to know the order. I'm sorry.
The motion you should make should be the 3 names that you're going to recommend to the board.
So that's the only motion we make. Everything is done in discussion.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't.
So you can discuss and decide that you want to kind of knock off those 4, but the motion that you make will be what your top 3 are.
Well, so I think we all agree to just drop the bottom 4 that don't have a lot of votes. Is that seems? And you can if you like.
No. I agree with you. I think what Sam's saying is we should wait for public comment. So if anybody's out here that wants to talk about those, then we can do that. But I agree with you. I totally think it's realistic. Yeah.
So if there's no more comment or discussion from the committee, okay, any public comment or discussion?
Our first public comment is from Tom Cates.
Madam Chairman, members of the naming committee, I'm Tom Cates. I spent 31 wonderful years in the school district as an educator. And I looked at this list, and there's several very dear friends on this list, but one stands out, and I'd like to speak in his behalf this evening. That's J. Wood Raw. And this is a man that dedicated his entire life to students, not just in the school, but on weekends. For, I know, more than 30 years, Jay Wood volunteered on the Sky Tavern Junior Ski Program. He was the Saturday director up there. He spent most of his life dedicated to the benefit of children. And then besides skiing, he was into 4-H with kids. So his whole life was surrounded by children. And I can't think of a better honor than naming a school after this gentleman. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill Henderson.
Well, the interesting thing about this is I am the director of Sky Tavern these days. But Sessions Wheeler was my uncle. And he ran the Flashman Foundation. First off, he was a teacher for 30 years at Reno High. He was everybody's biology teacher. And but he ran the Flashman Foundation, which paid for Sky Tavern. They gave away $192 million over a 30-year period to make living in Nevada, you know, a better place to live and grow. He was also the first director of the Fish and Game. He wrote many, many, many textbooks and all kinds of novels and things about Nevada. He was a true Nevadan. And I'm a little taken back by the fact that this has turned into a Facebook popularity contest, because actually I'm very, very good at that with Sky Tavern, but I didn't do it with him because I wanted to talk about him. He was an amazing person who brought a lot to Nevada, and his passion for Nevada ran so deep that the reason I do what I do is trying to live up to his legacy. So he was a teacher for 30 years. He worked at Reno High. He worked at UNR. He taught conservation, biology. I'd like to see him go on and teach some more, because his inspirations are generational. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim Henderson.
Hello, my name's Tim Henderson. That was my brother, and I'm here to talk about Sessions Wheeler. Adding on to what my brother had to say, the accomplishments of my uncle happened, 70 years ago. It was in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. But you look around, and there's still things here that he did. The Flashman Planetarium was built in 1963. Everybody still goes there, and kids go there, and they have a great time. But, he was a major portion of getting a lot of different things built. The Carson City Museum, for example, was the Flashman Foundation. Again, like my brother said, he was the first director of the Fish and Game. And the thing that he taught us is he was just a role model to our family. If you look at our family, my brother does nonprofit. My mom was a director of a nonprofit that helped developmentally disabled. My uncle was a director of the Fish and Game also. My great uncle's sister was a teacher. His brother-in-law was a principal and a teacher. My daughter is taking on that role and is working at Special Olympics, part of the Miss America Association. So our whole family has looked at our great uncle and said, we really want to be like him. And we would really appreciate it if the school was named after Sessions Wheeler. And I think Wheeler Elementary has a good ring to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Leo Roysden.
Board, thank you. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here to speak as to who Jay Wood Raw was outside of teaching. I'm sure you've read the emails. You've heard other public comment about who he was scholastically, what he did with kids in school. I mean, first and foremost, who doesn't love a principal that roller skates around the hallways of a school, right? He brought joy to a lot of kids, but I'm not here to speak about that. After graduating from Sparks High, Jay Wood joined the Navy. He was active duty from 1943 to 1946. During this time, He completed Navy Flight Preparation School, attended the Civil Aeronautics War Training School, as well as Fighter Pilot School. He joined the Naval Reserves in 1946, as well as the Navy's Experimental Aircraft Program, developing helicopters. As part of this program, Jaywood flew with the Sub Hunters until 1966 in the Bay. During this time in the Navy, Jaywood was involved in several sea rescues. Jaywood officially retired from the Naval Reserves in 1985 as a commander. He accomplished all this while continuing his education to become a teacher, to become a principal, to become the scholar that he is well known as, and a father. We know what kind of time commitment that commits. Additionally, Jaywood was a ski instructor at Sky Tavern, as mentioned. There's actually a run at Sky Tavern named after him. Jaywood continuously gave back to his community, to his country. He was a great man. I'm happy to have known him and lucky that I was able to be a family member of his. He was a selfless man who gave back every chance he could, a man that anyone could stand behind. He instilled these traits in his son, John Raw. I hope his name, his legacy can live on and proudly be displayed on a Washoe County school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott Cunningham.
Good evening. I'm here to represent my father, Lionel Cunningham. My dad was a principal in Washoe County. Well, he was an educator in the state of Nevada for 44 years, a teacher for 11 years, and a principal for 33 years. First at Rita Cannon Elementary and then in Sun Valley, both lower income areas and areas that needed a lot of attention. My dad was involved in the Nevada State PTA, Washoe County Teachers Association, National Education Association. He helped found and was the president of the board of directors of what was the Washoe Teachers Credit Union that became Sierra Schools Credit Union. He was president of the board of that for many years. He was a member of the Reno Arts Lions and treasurer for over 20 years. My dad hired the first teacher of color in Washoe County, and Mrs. Webb. He was at the forefront of special education and year-round school. He was a mentor for teachers and principals alike. He was heavily involved with his students, his teachers, and the community. My dad, after he retired, was involved in community outreach with the prison systems and through a religious organization. And he used to spend one night a week, he'd stay at a halfway house as a chaperone for the guys because they had to have supervision. My dad's first love was education. He was also an avid sportsman, but he never took any time off to go hunting and fishing, which he loved dearly. We would go every single weekend of deer and checker season to Eureka, Nevada and back. And he would never take time off from work. Anyway, just feel that he would really be richly deserving of having the school named after him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anna Veltri.
Hi, good evening. My name is Anna Veltri, and I'm here to ask you to please vote for Jaywood Raw. I want to thank you for your time and energy to be able to do that, even though it's just a few minutes, which would never be enough time to speak about this individual. I mean, I don't have enough words, and I have a lot of words, to ever say about this fabulous individual as a person, father, educator, community member, and definitely as an educator. I'd also like to thank all of you for being on this committee. I know that you're volunteering, and I want you to know that that's appreciated. I wasn't here the last month because I was out of town, And I want to mention that there are quite a few individuals that are also not here tonight, unfortunately, that wanted to be here. And I also want to recognize that there are quite a few people here tonight, all wanting you to realize that Jaywood Raw is the name. It's I don't know what else to say except for that we want this school to be named after him for many, many good reasons. He was the first person that I worked for. I was in education for, hate to say it, but for 50 years, and he was my first principal. And because of him, I went on to continue my education, and that happened with a lot of individuals. He was always supporting people to better themselves, to enhance their potential, and allowing them the freedom and what they needed to be able to do that. He also had a fabulous staff, which he hired selectively. And I know this is going to be a bit biased, but I really think that during the time that I worked for him, which was about 12 to 15 years, I thought Dilworth was literally the best school, you know, on the block or in the district. He was a very kind, honest, caring, sensitive individual, a fabulous listener, very, very supportive, like I said, of what was needed. He loved students, parents, and education. It was all about that. That's who he was. He also loved his community and gave back, not only as a community member, but again, as a father and as a great friend. I felt like it was an honor to know him and to have him in my life. Haven't done this for a while, I'm a little out of practice. His curriculum was amazing. The programs were innovative. He was an open-minded person, and because of that, allowed people to have their dreams and their aspirations and supported those. And that showed in the classes that were offered, the programs. I did write a letter of recommendation with some more details, and I'm sure you had others do that talked about all these. Oh, told you I could talk a lot. So I know he'd be honored to have the school named after him, and actually the school should be so honored to have him.
Thank you for your time.
Hank Vanderbeek.
Good evening. I too would like to thank you for the opportunity. This is going to be kind of a rerun from your last meeting, but that's how much I think of Jaywood. I feel like I've led a very lucky life. Nice things have happened and so on. Right up at the top of the list is my relationship with Jaywood as, first of all, a substitute teacher, then a teacher, then I was an administrator with him. I was his vice principal. Going back to my substitute teaching, if you want to know about a building, talk to a substitute, because they know they're not trying to hide anything or whatever. When I would substitute at Dilworth, which was quite often, he was always there. He was very helpful. And then the other end of the spectrum, when I was an administrator and had a school of my own, if something came up that I didn't know what to do, guess who I called? And so he was my mentor. I had going back to Lucky, I had the pleasure of opening New School Mendive, gosh, in the dark ages now. It seems like it's been that long. But even with that, when something would come up that I said, Jaywood, what do I do here? And so on, he was there for me. And I will always remember him for that. Two things that I will leave you with. He felt very strongly that it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. And because of that, that's helped to make Mendive a special place. And no does not mean no. It just means you have to find another way to do what you want to get done. And he was a master of that. So thank you for your consideration and for listening to me.
Thank you.
There's no further comments.
So we're going to leave it to discussion and then bring a motion. Okay. So any discussion or comments from the committee?
Well, I read a couple of letters about Sessions Buckwheeler, and he was. I'm really surprised that he only got 89, because after reading some of the things he did, I do think, the word true Nevadan really speaks to me. And I was glad I was able to read the letters, because now I know, I'm going to know who this man is. The other candidates are all really good. I'm a little curious as to, I know, Sam, you mentioned Monte Ranch Elementary School, and we have a high school. Does that get confusing to the public and the kids? And I mean, is there a reason for or against that? I'm just kind of going, well.
I mean, I can't really answer that in terms of like for or against it, but I think if you look at, I think some of the comments did come in saying that might be confusing, but that's really up to you all to decide. If you think it's confusing, then that might be a reason.
Well, I was kind of thinking, if and when, and I'm not being negative here, but we got to go to the Monte Ranch High School or Monte Ranch Elementary School?
I tend to agree with you on that one.
Because it's number 3, I thought, well, I just kind of wanted to make it clear in my thinking, but I've really enjoyed hearing about the 4 potential candidates. I haven't heard much about Michael Lansbury, and I know, the situation there. So, yeah, okay, I'm done.
I think, in reading the comments, and I went through that very, very long Excel spreadsheet. I did. I went through every page, and I particularly paid attention to the comments people wrote. There were many comments pleading with this committee to not name it the Monte Ranch because of the confusion factor. And I know that it had a lot of votes, but in thinking about it, I feel like you feel about that. So I would be willing to, we're trying to narrow this to 3. If we want to agree as a group, maybe we'll take that one off. But only if I don't want to.
I totally agree. I think that it's not a person, it's sort of a landmark place. So I think it's okay to take it off, even though it had so many votes. That's why I think it is super confusing. So.
I agree with the confusion. We can take it off.
Okay, well, I have scratched that off of my list for you keeping track at home. I also think, but I do think that we should settle on maybe 1 or 2 or more. I don't know, but there was some comments again within the Excel spreadsheet where people did say that they liked a landmark name. They prefer, there was a lot of talk about, and particularly some of the comments brought up the difficulty for some names to be pronounced and things like that. So I just want to throw that out. I don't know if anyone else wants to talk about that.
I mean, I don't see any reason to throw out all of the landmarks. That was just the reason for that one being that it was a double. So
was there another one that was that way too that we thought people could be confused about? Because I read that in the comments and now I can't remember because I didn't remember the 256-page spreadsheet.
Right.
I don't remember.
It might have been Desert Diamond because we do have a double.
I think it was Desert Diamond.
I propose that we also exclude that one, just because I think that the importance of a name, I think we should really think about what's in a name, and that is that it's not confusing, that people know where to go. So I think we can eliminate those. That's good. So I'm scratching that one off.
Yeah, I agree. I think they both are confusing. I think it's worthwhile and valuable to consider the geographical sort of landmark names. And all of them, even if they came in a little bit lower, actually, because then we're giving them another chance to sort of be in the running. So I think not considering the 2 landmarks, Desert Diamond and the Monte Ranch Elementary School, is a good idea.
Right, and we can maybe find out, we can come up with what we intuit to be the name that people who wanted a landmark name several of comments said, I don't care if it's this landmark name. They said it specifically within the document. Like, I like this name, but another landmark name. So I think we meet the intent of what people put forward, at least one with whatever, up to the full board.
Yeah, sure. And that gives us 10, or now that gives us 8 to look at.
That gives
I
us
think
8.
we should vote on the 8.
Okay, well, I think to do our 3 calculation, I think we should narrow it a little further. Is that okay? Can we narrow it a little? That would be mine. What's that?
I think Frank wanted to say something because he went on mute. So don't forget about the 2 virtual folks.
Yep.
So they can pipe in.
No, absolutely. And I could jump in whenever you guys are done, or I just give my quick opinion now. I think that some of these will be eliminated just in the process that we do here as far as the voting 1, 2, 3. I think that process will eliminate some of those in itself.
Yeah, I agree.
I like the idea of maybe eliminating just 2, 3 more, maybe not even that, and then we'll have a nice list of 5 or 6. If we vote on 8, then we might end up all over the map. And there's a couple I think we can eliminate, and maybe we already have in our own minds. I would argue that Harry Reid did not get a lot of votes, and a lot of people made unfortunate comments or whatever.
He just got an airport too, so I think.
And he just got an airport, so if we can scratch him, unless somebody objects.
Regardless of where you're at, he's got an airport.
And I would further add, and I hate to do this, but I just want to say that I understand just through my reading in the press that Dolores Feemster just had a part of the school named after her. Is that right? Does anybody know?
Yes. Go ahead, Frank.
Oh, Samantha, Dolores Feemster did or she didn't?
She did. So the board voted a couple of months ago to name the Family Resource Center at the new Hug High School, the Feemster Family Resource Center, but just part of the school, not a whole school. So, yeah.
I don't know. So I'm not going to propose we do. I mean, that's it.
My thoughts are instead of doing 2 separate sort of categories of elimination and then scoring, we should just do one process of scoring to eliminate the ones that will fall off naturally.
Does everybody want to? That's fine with me.
Any other discussion or comment on that? Are we ready?
That works for me.
Jeremy, I know you're online too, and you've been kind of quiet. Do you want to add anything to the discussion before we do the scoring? I didn't hear that.
Sorry, I've got a lot of feedback, so I didn't exactly hear your comment. Did you ask if I had a comment?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure you felt included because you're virtual.
Yes, I do. Like I said, there's a lot of feedback, so I'm kind of hit and miss, but I'm getting most of it. But no comment at this time.
And I think we should, I think we should start scoring.
And Frank and Jeremy, you can both see the sheet on the screen sharing, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So basically, what you're going to do now, spend a couple minutes, just think of your top 3, and then I'll call on you, and you'll give me who you want to give 3 points to. That's your first choice. Who you want to give 2 points to. That's your second choice. Who you want to give 1 point to. That's your last choice. And I'll try to make this bigger while you're thinking.
Are we set with our 1, 2, and 3? Anybody? Or do we need more time?
I'm good to go.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Ashley, let's have you go first.
Thanks. I am going to give a 3 to Sessions Buck Wheeler. Jay Wood Roth. And a 1.
Yep. I'm going to give 3 to Jay Wood Raw.
I need, yeah, sure, I'm ready.
You want me to come back to you?
Yeah, do, because mine are not matching any place. Go ahead.
That's okay.
Is that okay? Because, yeah, I want to go 3 South Meadows, 2 Steamboat.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Okay.
I'm ready.
For South Meadows. Okay.
2 for Steamboat and 1 for Rio Wrangler. That's correct, Duffy.
Colleen. So I'm a 3 for Jay Wood Raw. I'm a 2 for Buck Wheeler. And I'm a 1 for Mike.
And virtual. Frank, do you have yours?
Yes, and just right before I vote, I do want to thank all the members of the public that came out. I definitely did hear the feedback tonight, but I just want to include that in there. So for me, it's going to be 3 for Harry Reid, 2 for Jay Wood Raw, and then 1 for Dolores Feemster.
Okay. Does that look correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Jeremy, what are your scores?
So I have my number 1, Rio Wrangler, number 2 for Jay Wood, and number 3 for Lionel Cunningham.
3 points goes Rio Wrangler's your first choice?
Yes.
Okay.
So 3 points Rio Wrangler, 2 Jay Wood, 1 point to Cunningham.
Okay. Thank you. So if we look over here at the totals, I got everything right. Jay Wood Raw got 12 points. So you just look at your top 3. Jay Wood Raw got 12. Sessions Buck Wheeler got 7. And Rio Wrangler got 6.
Do we have a motion?
This is Frank. I would move the 3 school name choices with the most points to the Board of Trustees.
Can you state the names just for the record for the motion of what those are?
Yes, that would be Jay Wood Raw Elementary School, Sessions Buck Wheeler, correct?
Yes.
Sessions Buck Wheeler and Rio Wrangler.
Do we have a second?
A second.
All those in favor, and should I repeat it again? All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those in favor, nay? All those opposed, nay? Sorry.
We got to hear ayes from Frank and Jeremy for nays.
Aye.
And Jeremy?
Aye for me.
Yeah. He's in a tunnel.
Motion passes. In the majority. 6-0. Are there any more public comments? No, there isn't. Okay. So we don't have any more scheduled meetings at this time, Sam?
That's correct.
Okay.
So we build another school.
Okay, which is
or if
probably
the
next
board,
year.
if the board sends it back or something. But
Okay, gotcha.
if all goes as planned and the board takes these top three and makes a decision.
Okay, so those are the three names that we're sending to the board, the school board, and we don't have another meeting scheduled, so this meeting is adjourned. And how will the public know about which one we decide on?
I think most of them know. But
Social media.
check, send me an email or check the website. We'll post when it will go to the board. It should be going to the board in March. We're not 100% sure yet, but once it's officially scheduled, y'all will know.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Meeting adjourned.
Great, thank you.